In recent World University rankings, among 1,300 universities from 92 different countries, 56 positions are occupied by Indian universities, which is good. However, the best of our universities is on 301st position. A country which has a very rich heritage of ancient universities like Nalanda, Takshashila, etc., unable to make it to at least top 300 of the world universities is something to really worry about. We Indians contribute to second highest percentage of 204 million graduates produced across worldwide as on 2020. But that is majorly because of our population. If you look within, our gross enrollment ratio into higher education is mere 34%, which clearly indicates millions of us are unable to procure degrees. Though employability of our graduates seems to be increasing over the years, we are still not in a position to face the world, at least with confidence, though not with pride. We are just second to South Africa in the percentage of youth force aged between 15 and 30 who are neither studying nor working. And it is a very well known fact that 50% of our graduates lack employable skills. No wonder the number of patents registered by India are only 1/10 of China and USA. Because while those countries are allotting more than 2% of their GDP towards the research, we are stuck at mere 0.7% of our GDP, which is decreasing year by year. Fifth largest country in terms of its nominal GDP and third largest in terms of purchase power parity is still continuing to be a developing country is merely and clearly because of lack of innovation and lack of fundamental research. Is New Education Policy 2020 aware of these bitter facts while drafting its reformations? Let us see those details today by throwing light upon the higher education from part 2 of the National Education Policy 2020. Hi, this is Kiran Sidde and this information is brought to you on behalf of 8 out of top 10 universities of our country are technical institutions with engineering as their mainstream. Even among 100, if you check, most of them will be either engineering or management related single stream institutions only. What else would be the reason for the people of such a diverse country falling madly behind one stream called engineering? The first and most predominant approach of National Education Policy 2020 related to higher education is transforming every higher educational institution into a multidisciplinary center. In the near future, we will get to see any graduate or postgraduate institution transforming into any one of three kinds. One, a research intensive university where there will be equal emphasis for teaching as well as research. A teaching intensive university where a significant provision for research also will be given, or an autonomous degree granting college. And all these three types of institutions will be multidisciplinary, and by 2040 even IITs and IIMs will be slowly transformed into multidisciplinary institutions. As a result of which, people tend to choose diverse fields and obviously employability of the country tends to increase. To further support the multidisciplinary education and encourage people to join variety of disciplines and graduate from variety of fields, MERUs, multidisciplinary education and research universities will be established and their standards are said to be on par with IITs, IIMs and other very renowned institutions we commonly talk about in our country. Hopefully after the inception of MERUs, even the children joining regular degrees like BA, BCom, BSc etc. will have the pride of joining top universities of the country. According to a survey, 67% of HR managers will be very happy to recruit people with strong soft skills, though their hard skills are not so effective. 47% of the new hires fail out in the first 18 months because of lack of soft skills. I myself have rejected or replaced after joining many mathematics and science teachers despite their problem solving skills and subject knowledge being exceptional. That was because they failed to win the approval of the students in imparting their knowledge and wisdom to them. Most of the resumes I get are so monotonous that sometimes only name and personal info will be different between them. A 10-year experienced teacher is seen to lack the common sense that inclusion of his effective testimonials as well as his real-time contributions in his previous job would impress us in giving him the job. This lack of certain soft skills, self-presentation skills is another very big reason for lack of employability in our students. The second most prominent aspect that NEP 2020 has stressed upon is holistic development of the students at higher education level by integrating their professional, vocational and technical education with the ethic of social engagement and soft skills, which they necessarily need soon after passing out of their institutions. Apart from the lack of soft skills, another major reason for low employability of our courses is our students do not get hands-on experience of the subjects they pursue. National Education Policy 2020 intends to provide an opportunity for all the higher educational institutions for the internships with local universities, businesses, artists, craftsmen, etc. Even it will be extended to research internships with the faculty and researchers of their own institution or the neighboring institutions. This would help the students experience the practical side of their learning, which according to me is a good move because they will not be merely getting degrees, even they will be ready to face the industry before they come out of these courses. Now the issue in hand is increasing gross enrollment ratio into the degrees. Of course, provision of flexibility, choice of study and assessment of holistic development at school education might help the increase in GER into the higher education because children must have started enjoying their studying. So they prefer to continue learning. However, even the dropouts due to social and economic conditions, poor family conditions also needs to be addressed. A revolutionary multiple entry and exit system is being introduced into the degrees. According to this system, if you could study only 1 year of degree, you will get a certificate. If you end up studying only for 2 years, you will get a diploma. If you continue for 3 years, you will get the bachelor degree as you are getting now. So there is no need that you need to finish 3 years of your degree in the same institution continuously for procuring a certificate to make you employable outside. A very constructive addition is a 4th year degree with research. This not only increases your employability but also eases your joining of higher studies through direct access to PhD. If that does not increase our doctoral candidates, what else will? There will be ABC, an academic bank of credit created as a digital asset in your name. Based on the courses you have pursued from a recognized higher education institution, your account credits will be generated. And using those account credits, you can join further years of the degree anywhere, anytime. This increases the flexibility of pursuing studies and will be a big time help, especially for those who discontinue their studies because of any family or social conditions. They can come back, revamp their education anytime and pursue their degrees to increase their opportunities for employment. Now you will be left with a variety of options for pursuing higher studies after your undergraduation. Number 1, you can do 3-year degree plus 2 years masters with 2nd year of masters completely dedicated to research. Number 2, you can do 4-year degree plus research and only 1 year masters. Overall, it will be 5 years only. So, in your academic bank of credits, you have got a 4-year degree with research. Then, when you come for joining your MA, MCom or MSc, you will be studying that only for 1 year. Or number 3, a 3-year plus 2-year, a 5-year integrated bachelor plus master's degree. Or if you have interest to become a doctoral candidate, a 4 years degree plus research plus PhD directly. So you can continue pursuing your research, and that last option, if you are a serious doctoral candidate, that last option saves 1 year. This flexibility of leaving and joining the courses will help many students in the country who are dropping out because of their economic shortcomings. They will have flexibility of pursuing intermittent degrees, try and make some money out of some employment, and pursue their own degrees and stand on their own legs. So it indirectly, I believe, increases the self-reliance of the students also, which is the whole point of education, by the way. It is so sad to see in our country that even after reaching 25, 26 years, people are depending on their parents for their pocket money. And such situation to some extent can be reduced because of this flexibility and multiple entry-exit options into degrees. Lately, you can see plenty of ads in Facebook from coaches who promise you to turn you into a good entrepreneur and help you start up businesses. As I am an amateur educational entrepreneur, after having my share of troubles in running the business, I have attended 2 or 3 such programs. I was so happy, I was so excited by the kind of practical outlook these trainers were giving in these programs. And I always wondered, are our business schools really giving such real life problems in business so that our graduates, after coming out of those business schools, will be really able to set up their businesses and run them effectively? One of my cousins has finished BTech Civil Engineering. I was trying to get him a job, so I was searching for references and contacted few settled civil engineers from my school alumni. While they explained me the vacuum in the industry and telling the lack of jobs right now, they were suggesting a series of software courses that this guy can pursue, and they are required for civil engineers so that his job opportunities will be enhanced. That means his 4-year BTech Civil Engineering degree did not teach him everything that can provide him an effective core job, effective discipline related job. This incomplete and irrelevant course structures are another very big reason for low employability in our country. After national education policy is in force, all the higher educational institutions will set up startup incubation centers, technology development centers, research centers in frontier areas to increase the industry and academic linkage. No doubt the future of the country looks better and brighter if this policy doesn't turn out to be another paper tiger. In 1950, US government has established a federal body which eventually turned out to be the primary driver of US economy, enhanced its national security, and helped US sustain its global leadership by advancing the knowledge consistently. Many trailblazing discoveries like CD, cell phone, barcode, MRI, internet, search engines, etc. are made possible by the fundamental research funded by this organization. 200 Nobel laureates did their fundamental research with the help of this institution. Yes, I'm talking about the National Science Foundation of United States of America. National Science Foundation receives 50,000 applications for innovative researchers that need economic support. Through a very rigorous merit review system by the experts panel, they decide what researchers have to be funded from $8.3 billion annual budget they have. A country would not become a world leader for no reason. It's our turn now. National education policy proposes the establishment of a similar organization with the name National Research Foundation NRF. While NSF of USA funds only the researchers from science and engineering, NRF aims to fund multidisciplinary research. If you have a meritorious fundamental research while studying in your university, you can apply to National Research Foundation and it will be allotting the funding according to the merit review process similar to NSF. If your research becomes successful, you will be given an opportunity to associate with a governmental body or with a private industry to implement your research. Let us hope, like NSF, NRF also helps India emerge as a global leader by improving innovation in the country. These were certain highlighting details from the higher education sector of National Education Policy 2020. With this, we have covered the three major areas, that is early child education, school education, as well as higher education. Our further videos will be dealing with the analysis part of this national education policy. Our further video will talk about the impact of this national education policy on students as well as parents. In later video, we'll go with the institutions and teachers. Hope you enjoyed the information from this video. See you soon. Thank you very much.